All right, we are back again down by the lake for a nice little walk and talk. It is windy again, so hopefully you are able to hopefully you're able to hear me. But what we're going to do today is we're going to talk and walk and talk a little bit about the YouTube automation, faceless YouTube, whatever you want to call it, cash cow. There was a lot of positive feedback. There were a lot of questions as well. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to answer some of them. We're going to talk a little bit more. This video is going to be comprised of two parts. Part number one will be YouTube automation, YouTube cash cow, things of that nature. And then the second part of this video, which I think is really important, is current events. There are things happening around the world that will affect everybody, and I want to talk a little bit about it because I think it's frustrating and annoying. And there's a guy over there doing, oh no, I thought he was doing like karate, but he's actually just fishing. Anyway, we're back on the lake. Let me show you this picture again. It's going to get kind of bright because the sun is just now coming up, but that's the harbor, and we're back. So got a lot of comments about YouTube automation. I'm going to call it faceless YouTube, I guess, because that's what it's being called now. One of the comments I saw was basically saying that I was a hater because I tried and failed at it. It's actually quite opposite. I have a number of faceless channels that bring in money in a variety of ways. Affiliate marketing, not digital products yet. In fact, on this channel, I talk a little bit about some of those faceless channels. I try and give you an honest, realistic expectation of what you can do, what you can and can't do. I think the frustration that I have when people talk about automation and useless faceless channels, I almost said useless channels, faceless channels, is that people will lead you to believe that it's easy. People will lead you to believe that it's actually easier than doing a regular branded channel where you show your face. And it's not. In my opinion, it's actually kind of harder. And the reason why I think it's a little bit more difficult is because there's not as much trust. And I also believe that people are less forgiving and lenient on a faceless channel. There is a higher bar. People kind of expect perfection. And so, if you're doing a faceless account, people are looking for a reason to leave. And in my opinion, if you're doing a branded account, people are looking for a reason to stay. Now that's a subtle difference, but it's important. If you're doing a faceless channel, people are looking for any reason to go. If you mispronounce a word, if it sounds weird, if they don't see a face or a person that they can connect with immediately, they're leaving. However, if you show your face, if you do a branded account and you stutter a little bit, you mispronounce words, people are more forgiving. They might be annoyed or they might make a comment, but they're a little bit more forgiving. They will hang around because they understand the human element. Now, that might just be my personal opinion on it, but I think that's the biggest difference. People are looking for a reason to leave on a faceless account, but with a branded account, people are looking for a reason to stay. Like, I know that my content isn't perfect. I know that I don't pronounce things perfectly. Sometimes I stutter, sometimes I have these long dramatic pauses. But because I'm looking at you and I'm talking directly to you, I think people build a connection and they look for a reason to stay just a little bit longer. That might just be my personal opinion on it, my feelings, right? So that is one reason. So yeah, I have multiple faceless YouTube channels that have various levels of success. One of my channels has just under 9,000 subscribers. I talked about one of the channels as a painting channel, which is kind of funny. I should do an update on that channel soon. Anyway, I think also too, and I just stuttered, but also too, I think people have a hard time building a connection. It's more transactional. And we want to connect with other people. And there's a thing called parasocial relationships that is both good and bad. A parasocial relationship is basically when we connect with other people through video, through social media. We feel like we have a connection with a person even though we've never met them. And it's much easier to do it when you're showing your face, when you're showing up on camera, than if you're trying to do it faceless. You need to put in more effort. You need to put in a higher level in order to achieve the same level of success that someone that is branded is doing. So, can faceless work? Yes, faceless works. I watch some faceless channels, and another comment that someone made was, I had made a comment that a lot of what these YouTubers are telling you to do is to find a channel that works and just keep making the exact same video. That's exactly what they're telling you to do. How do I know this? I know this from watching a bunch of YouTube videos. I know this because I paid a $2,000 course that told you to do the exact same thing. This is what they're telling you to do step by step, and you can go verify this for yourself. You find a video that is done well. Usually it has a good view to subscriber ratio. You literally download the transcript of the video, or you hire somebody to do it for you, and then you put it into a website like Spinbot or Quillbot, I forgot what it was. Now you can put it in ChatGPT, and then have a voiceover artist or AI do it, and then you just add in your own B-roll. And usually you're getting B-roll from Pexels or Unsplash. But that's what they're telling you to do. And that's how I know you wind up creating copies of copies of copies of copies. Now, I think a better way would be to find a video that does well. I tell you to do the exact same thing. But then find your own spin. What is a new perspective or a new take that you can take on a video that has already done well? For example, I do it on this channel. The video that has over 1 million views on this channel is an I tried it video where I take a new perspective or a new take on a video that had done very well. So, and part of it is YouTube's fault, right? YouTube, a big part of it is YouTube's fault. YouTube doesn't want originality. It doesn't want creativity. YouTube wants to continue to show what has already worked. And what has already worked, they just want to keep showing it. So smart YouTubers know that, and so they make the exact same videos. That's one of the downfalls of when you let advertising and money control your decisions. Because with YouTube, if you can keep people on the platform longer, you can show them more ads and you make more money. And when you let advertisers drive your decision making, how can we maximize ad revenue? You wind up creating the exact same content over and over again, or rewarding people that have figured out how to create the exact same content over and over again. It is hot and sticky today. Maybe I'll give you guys a shot of a couple things. So let's turn this around. All right, so I think right there is Carthage College. We'll go over there sometime. But further on, right there is Milwaukee. Anyway, so like I was saying, part of it is YouTube's fault, because YouTube doesn't reward creativity, and all of their decisions are based on maximizing ad revenue and maximizing the amount of money they can make. And if that's the case, they're no longer going to make decisions that are best for the viewer. They're going to make the decisions that are best for their pockets. So that's why I said that. One of the questions that came up was, should I start with a faceless channel or a branded channel? I'm a proponent of doing branded. And I'll get to the point where someone said, they don't want their employers or their friends to know. I would recommend starting with a branded channel, because as I mentioned a little bit earlier, people are looking for a reason to hang around. People see the vulnerability. People want to connect with other people. And it's easier to make money with a branded account. Like with this account. It's easier for me to sell a digital product or to promote a product or service with this account than with a faceless account. And if you're looking to maximize the amount of money you make, you should be doing it. If you want to maximize the amount of money you want to do a branded account. Can you make money with a faceless? Of course you can. But I think you need more people. There's a lower conversion. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to walk and talk because of the stickiness, the heaviness of the air. Anyway. Someone said, I don't want to show my face because of my job or because of my friends and family. First and foremost, I don't care about friends and family seeing my content. I really don't. In fact, a funny story, a few years ago, I was making TikTok videos in the backyard with my shirt off. And one of my aunts asked my mom, why does he make TikTok videos with his shirt off? And it was like, first of all, she would never dare ask me personally, but more importantly, why does it matter? She doesn't contribute to the bills. She doesn't pay my mortgage or rent or anything like that. So who cares? If these people have an input on your home finances, then they can say whatever they want. But if I have an opportunity to make money and they're not contributing to my finances, I don't care what they say. I don't care what they think. That is a self-limiting belief that you are putting on yourself so that you give yourself an out. That might not be the answer that you're looking for, but it's the truth. Who cares? They have zero impact, zero input on the amount of money you make. They're not contributing to your finances. They don't matter. It really doesn't. Now, does your employer have a rule against what you can and cannot say? Are you creating content about your employer? Is what I would say, is what I would ask. What does the employer have to do with the content that you're making? If you're exposing your employer, now that would be a problem. You probably shouldn't make that content. But again, I think these are all excuses that people are putting out there to not try. These are excuses, right? What does your employer have to do? And wind is picked up. What does your employer have to do with your content? Are there rules explicitly stating? And what are the odds that your employer is going to see your content? Is your employer checking your social media? Then don't post it on social media. I think it's an excuse. It's a bad excuse, and that might annoy some people, might piss some people off. But I think it's an excuse not to do something that could benefit you. How would your employer know that you've made a YouTube channel about basket weaving? And if your employer is checking up on you, that says a lot about your employer. And are you making these videos in your free time, or are you making them on the clock? If you're making them in your free time, why does your employer have input on what you do on your free time? If you're video editing while you're working, that's a problem. But if you're doing all of this in your free time, why does it matter? If you're walking and talking like I am, what can your employer really say? I don't know. That's weird to me. Anyway, I think it's an excuse. I don't think it's a good excuse, but I think you have to, if you're going to do Faceless, be prepared to put in more work than if you would doing a branded account. Whew, it is hot and sticky. Anyway, we're going to start walking back the other way. We've been walking and talking for about 15 minutes, so that's good. Nice little 30-minute walk in. Start the morning. Anyway, I think that would be the question that I have. Is your employer checking up on you? Because how would they know that you have a YouTube channel? Why is your employer not supportive of you building a new skill? Because content creation is a skill. Video editing is a skill. Putting together coherent thoughts and putting them on the internet is a skill. Why doesn't your employer want you to develop a skill? Like, this is a skill that I'm trying to get better at. Most people would be deathly afraid to walk and talk in public, talk to themselves essentially in public. Most people are deathly afraid to sit down and coherently present a topic or idea in public. And that's what a YouTube video is. You're building communication skills. You're effectively communicating your thought or opinion. Now, if you're doing and saying things that are going to put your job in a bad light, that's different. But if you're just making content about a hobby that you enjoy on your free time, what would your employer say about that? And how would they find out? Anyway, I think it's an excuse. Now, did you sign something when you first got hired saying that you would not make a YouTube channel? Do you have other social media accounts? Do you have a Facebook? How is making a YouTube video different than Facebook? All questions that I would have. And so if you're one of those people that believes that their job would look poorly or look down on it, comment down below and be detailed, right? Because why? What do they have against you learning and developing a new skill? Employers are always looking for people that can effectively communicate. Why is this any different? Anyway. All right, so now that we have some of those questions out of the way, I think we're going to get to the hard part of the YouTube video. And that is what is going on in the world. And so, I think that the thing that frustrates me, and this is where it gets a little dicey, because I got the sun at my back, and so the picture quality is going to change a little bit. But I think the thing that frustrates me, and maybe it's just because I see it on social media, and maybe that doesn't reflect most Americans, but I feel like some Americans have like this thirst for blood, and it's really disheartening. You dehumanized a person that you've never met. For what? All for what? So this is how I look at it. Right now there's a person in Iran, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Canada, Mexico, who is a father, just like me. He has 3 small aged kids and a wife. And all he wants is to provide a better life for his kids. He's not screaming death to America. The only thing he wants is to figure out how to provide a better life. What can he do to ensure that his kids are never in pain? What can he do to ensure that he gives all he can give to his wife and kids so that they are never in pain? And I feel like that lack of humanity is what's missing. And so people are cheering these current events. And I've got to be really careful of what I say, because once again, YouTube will be weird about it. But That's the thing that I don't get, is the dehumanization. Because at the end of the day, the average person all want the same thing. We all want the same thing. The average person in any country, pick a country, is not screaming, not thirsting for another person to be taken out. Because right now, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, the worst thing that a guy in Iran had to worry about was making sure that he could go to the grocery store and get the food that he needed, or she or they or whatever. Now he's got to worry about, if he goes to the grocery store, will he be able to make it home? Or when he gets home, will his family still be there? And there are people that are cheering that. And there are people that are thirsting for that and craving for that. And I don't understand it. How could you want bad for someone that you've never even met before? How could you thirst for someone's life to be drastically different and you've never met them before? You have no idea who they are. You have no idea their history or their background, but you just know that they need to be taken off the map. Why? Why is what I would say. You know, as someone, I consider myself the average American. I only really want what's best for my kids. And meddling in other people's business in general does nothing to improve the life of my kids. Does not make them smarter or happier or healthier. Thirsting for another person's failure does not improve my life at all. Does not improve the life of my kids at all. What they're doing over in the Middle East will not help me lose weight. Right? Well, maybe it will, because everything will be so expensive, I'll have to walk everywhere. I got silver lining. But anyway, I feel, and maybe this is just social media, but I feel like there's a real thirst. There's a real lust for this. And I don't understand it. You can call me whatever, but I mean, what's the net benefit in the coming days, weeks, months, and potentially even years? There's going to be a bunch of people that pass away, that are injured, mutilated, all because of something, all because of this like bloodlust that I see on social media. And when you think about this even more, I've got 10-year-olds now and a 7-year-old. If this continues on for another 8 years, will my kids be called to serve? And I don't think people think about that. What about 8 years from now? Will we still be at war? And what's the implications for my kids and grandkids? I don't think that is considered. I think it should be considered. Incredibly short-sighted. Anyway, I think it's really frustrating. I think it's a kind of annoying and terrifying that you can just have this lust, this thirst, this craving for something really that you're not going to experience firsthand. And it will not have a direct benefit to you. It will not improve your life. It certainly won't improve my life. Like I said, this part is going to be uncomfortable, and I know that I get lots of people fighting and arguing in the comments, and if you've got negative things to say, I'm just going to block you. So, you know, It is what it is. Anyway, that is it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.